and hi, my name is JOHAN, and today my group would like to explain about the CONCISE TOWNSCAPE by Cullen. So before I start, I would like to tell you CONCISE TOWNSCAPE has been published in 1961, and this is Cullen. So Cullen has been said in his book, a city is more than the sum of its inhabitants. It has the power to generate a surplus of amenities, which is one reason why people like to live in community rather than in isolation. Which is this word has been proven about the theory that Cullen made in his book. So I would like to present the introduction of this book. Firstly, I would like to tell you why Cullen start to make this book. So firstly, Cullen has been interested in how people perceive urban environment through their sense of sight. And also, Cullen defined urbanism as art of relationship. He also understood that people apprehend urban environment through kinesthetic experience as it seems to be same every day. And Cullen illustrated his theoretical idea with drawings and photographs. So that's why this book has lots of images, same as the words that Cullen gave. Also, this is what Cullen point out in his book, which is it has 3 points: optic, place, and content. This is the big point that Cullen want to say. It's optics about how we see environment, place how we find ourselves within the environment, content the fabric of town, which is the around us that we can see, which is color, texture, scale, style, and something more than anything else. So next slide. So the first thing in his book that Cullen said, which is the serial vision. So serial vision is a concept that describes how we experience urban environment, not as a single static image, but as a sequence of unfolding views as we move through space. So this is how Cullen show in his book about that he said that it's not a single image, static image, which is when we see in one perspective, we see the main one, which is we have our focus on what we see. So if we go through that, it has been changed. This something that we see, which is first thing we see something like door here. When we go there, we see another things. So this is how Cullen proved his theory about this, it's not a static image, but as a sequence of unfolding views, which is this is the plan of where the people take the picture of some situation. We zoom into that area. We go here, we zoom, and then when we stand here, we zoom to something that attract our eyes. So when I read this book, I have analyzed and doing some analysis to my site, which is site at Jalan Tau. So I have recognized that Central Market to Masjid Jamek, this is the way we show the road, which is how we go to Masjid Jamek. And I give a 3 illustration example: Masjid Jamek to Dataran Merdeka and Kelsi Sifat to Salomah Beach. What things that I point out in this illustration? So basically, in Masjid Jamek to Dataran Merdeka is starting at Masjid Jamek pedestrian encounters, which is enclosed area. So the journey showcases a transition from enclosed space to open square, which is Dataran Merdeka is an open space. So that the things that Cullen want to say about this part, and that is how I put some my knowledge to my site. So next slide. So the second things that Cullen said in his book is place. But place have lots of points. I think about 45 points. So I have been compiled the point, and I come up with 5 main things to make them easier to understand. Each theme reflects how different design elements. So the first theme is enclosure and spatial experiments, which is this part introduces the theme focus on how space is shaped to make us feel its inside, enclosed, or protected. So the part that I put in this part is here and there, closure, privacy, inside and outside. And I also put some example at leisure. I think I didn't have much time to explain that. So the second point is the contrast and juxtaposition. So this point, I compile things that is about how open sites are used to make space exciting, which is at the scale, light and dark, texture and material, which is some things that will make people feel some emotions. So the third one is articulation of forms. This design with how buildings are shaped, positioned, or detailed to create meanings. So it compile the point of view, interlocking buildings, height, difference, axis, and focus. And the fourth thing is rhythms and repetition. It's how pattern effects window of column light, the eye, and give life to place. Combine the rhythmic columns and colonnades, pre-linear. And the last point is the civic meaning and symbolism, which is explained the space that holds culture, spiritual, or ceremonial value. It's compared the point of focus point and mark, sacred space, public life, and celebration. So next part. The next part on the casebook is the content. So content, Gordon Cullen explained the different parts of the different urban environments. So I have pointed out something like such as a metropolitan, suburban, industrial, rural, and cultural zones. Each one is filled with unique visual and spatial content, whether it's the towering density of the skyline, the soft and opportunities of grid, suburban, or the so the example is the first thing is metropolitan that I located at Tokyo because the city, and then the suburban at the urban USA. So the third one is industrial, Pasir Budak, the rural, Skinchat, the cultural town that are very popular in Malaysia, Georgetown, the urban park, KLCC Park, Wat, Show, and Indasang Sabah. So from the Facebook content, I conclude the fundamental elements that shape Jalan Town identity, because Facebook content showing how it create the identity of that area. So at Jalan Town, the identity built from the architectural character and street rhythms. So the pre-war shophouse along Jalan Town have been create the characteristic scale and contrast, which is this is the Colosseum, very popular, and versus Maju Junction Mall. So the Colosseum is very contrast scale. So the third point is the cultural texture and place identity, which is at Masjid India and its surroundings, its pasar surroundings. Next. So this is the point that Gordon Cullen said in the Facebook content that have more than 28 like that. So next. The last point at the Facebook is the function prediction. So function prediction is something that used to explore how urban elements gain meaning, not just through design or beauty, but through their function, what they do, and how people use to understand them over time. It's about the connection between physical forms and human behavior, memory, and social culture. So Gordon Cullen have seen 9 points from all of them. So I think that's all from my point.
Guys, my name is NATASYA, BINTI Malaysia. So this is my part. Okay, the first one, the first for general study, we have a square for all things. So we have 4 squares for this square for all things. So we have the private square, enclosed and open, the public and popular square, the square as quadrangle, municipal square, and the last one is the square as quadrangle, the collegiate. So we go to the first one. The first one, the private enclosed square is a type of urban square that creates a strong feeling of intimacy Okay, the third one, we have the square as triangle, municipal square. The current building and the future plan for Russell Square indicate that its identified should lean toward a municipal and monumental character. So, this is like a landmark, which is the Dataran Merdeka and LTC. The square as triangle, the last one, the square as triangle, the collegiate. Traffic will be restricted with defined designations, restricting vehicle access to those with local business. So this is the example, which is the Masjid Jami and the KLCC. KLCC park. Next one. The next one, we have the cross as focal point and closure. The first one, the cross as focal point. Prior to the 20th century, towns were commonly understood. Okay. The last one, we have Louis. Okay, this is from Louis. We have the inlet riverside view with the river run line by continuous trace of house. So we can see they have house side of the river. And the linear pattern is last as it stretches toward the nearby headlands. And the last one, the terrace formation on the hills behind the town has gradually deteriorated, undermining the visual emphasis on the line. So that's all for my part.
Assalamualaikum, my name is UMAIRAH and I'm going to continue for general studies. First one is legs and wheels. In Cullen's principle, the coexistence and tension between pedestrian, which is legs, and vehicles, wheels, shapes the townscape. Ideally, cities should separate or balance to avoid conflict. For example, at Dataran Merdeka, the square is covered with flags in like having, although they may be modern, like tiles. And like this, here is bollards which are used to separate pedestrian from vehicles, ensuring pedestrian safety in public square or historic appear. So at least there are vehicles and for pedestrian. The next one is the floor. From Cullen, is our concept of the floor is about more than just what's under our feet. It's about how the ground plane of the city visually and functionally supports urban life. And for example, at KLCC Park, there has two like clay pavers and jogging track. For clay pavers, the park utilized for pathway, offering durability and more aesthetic complements the surrounding greenery. And this for here is jogging track is about 1.3 kilometers. The surface with ethylene propylene beams monomer, or called EPDM. A synthetic rubber version that provides conflict and reduce injury risk for joggers. And the next one is hazard. There's 4 types of hazard, which is release, planting, concealed hazard, and change of level. For release, it's about creating clear boundaries that divide different spaces. And here at Jalan Darwisi, release are installed along the pedestrian walkway to separate them from the vehicular lane. The separation helps providing jaywalking and ensure pedestrian safety. It defined urban rooms and a clear pedestrian path, offering sequential visual experience as you walk through the Jalan Melayu. The next one is rule of thumb. The rule of thumb concept is a guide to design based on accumulated human experience, especially regarding how people interact with space, proportion, and enclosure. For example, this arcaded pedestrian, which is 5 foot at least, space reflect the rule of thumb, shape, shelter, continuity, and appropriate scale for walking. And that one is Harrison, which is near the Sobush. It's architectural details, signage, and street level design. For like the red bars, you see the red bars here, trees and borders. Respect the pedestrian scale, another rule of thumb for making urban environments legible and engaging. The last one is here at junction and crossing. It's tactile pave and ramp have been installed. This element reflects on the intuitive rule of thumb designed for inclusivity, assuming that level changes and navigation handled with user comfort in mind. from the book, here then first there's no lighting, which is the place will be dark, and then they add the light to the lamppost, so it's more exciting. The colors lighting take away and ensure pedestrian safety, especially in hard traffic areas. From colors, this colors consist visual or physical obstruction that disrupt spatial clarity. This rarely break onto the spatial carpet of the walkway and limit natural flow. Next one is planting. It's about vegetation that can provide surface, provide softness and rhythm. The dense vegetation around a clear division between the stream walkways and vehicular roads is preventing reckless crossings and enhancing pedestrian safety. Colors argue for the careful positioning of trees and visual depth. Random or obstruction fatigue disrupt the role of the townscape. The next one is concealed hazard, which is clear visibility of the environment to avoid surprises. The drainage channels are covered with material that match the surrounding pavement, making them visually invisible as pedestrian. Color amplifies visibility of space, leaving those that think that make clear become psychology as something and physically unsafe. And the last one for the hazard is change of level. This change should be gradual and easily readable for clarity. The walkway is designed for the pedestrian to cross, the junction and crossing above the busy intersection, effectively managing the change of levels between pedestrian and street walkways. Street and pedestrian walkways. Color critics obstruct or unread level changes emphasize the need to gradual transition with stress surface and clear visual or tactile areas. The next images is prairie planning. Gordon Cullen used prairie planning to describe towns layout where spaces are large, flat, and properly enclosed, resembling the vast prairie of. The buildings stand in the landscape and do not enclose or create places. For prairie planning, Gordon Cullen criticized this approach because it lacks spatial definition, feels exposed and undefined, and misses the human scale sense of being in a space. For example, in Jalan Melayu avoids prairie planning by moving narrow walkways enclosed by continuous rows of shop houses. And the next one is street lighting. For the street lighting, Gordon Cullen discussed as a crucial element of urban design that significantly influenced the character and experience of urban spaces. Along the pedestrian section near Sogo, Jalan Masjid India and Jalan Melayu, there are decorative lampposts with warm white LED light. These both hardscape elements together create layers of light, helping define space and path. The next one is outdoor publicity. For outdoor publicity, which refers to advertising and signage in the urban environment, Cullen recognized the pervasive presence of outdoor advertising in towns and cities and acknowledged potential impact on the visual character of urban spaces. For example, along Jalan Melayu, Lorong Mekah, and part of Jalan Masjid India, many local textile and bold shaped with colorful but modest signage. This large-scale content sensitive sign can guide people and animate the streetscape without overflowing it. And the last one for me is the wall. Wall serve multiple functions in the urban environment and can have significant implications for the visual character, spatial organizations, and social dynamics of cities and towns. For example, at Pertama Complex, this building creates a lot of social and sonic facades that offer visual continuity but risk monotony unless softened by signage of shop fronts. And then this one, along Jalan Ta, the heritage shop house and adjacent street like Jalan Melayu and Jalan Tuanku of Durban consistent wall heights and repeating facades. Walls are integrated with columns, arcades, and windows. This frame is fit well, matching colors idea of inclusion and rhythm. That's all.
So my name is DANISH. So this slide, let's begin with English climate, which explore how climate and use design, especially in procedure like Jalan Tuanku. So firstly, climate as a design influence. In England, design unit outdoor has been to cool and rain. Similar, Jalan Ta struggle will and heavy rain, which discover people for hazard outdoor space. Number 2 is historical English situation. For example, like the Dutch garden and a certain square respond to climate by putting people indoor. Number 3 is design explanation for perspective. English climate art. English climate inspired art theme jalan tol could adopt similar ideal lighting and structure. Number 4 is design suggestion for jalan tol. Your idea includes shade arcade for pedestrian, shelter with LED display, cooling system and garden compact with climate ready structure. Number 5 is relevance to jalan tol context. This area include cultural landmark like Dataran Merdeka and Mancing Jamek, Grill Chongki. Number 9 and number 6, the need of adaptive design that will need for the weatherproof open furniture and design the work all year. It support both local economies with wide cultural identity. Number 7 is modern technology innovative. We get a smart solution, automatic shelter system, solar power cooling system, and ready for walkway and modern city. Now moving to steps. What is TOWNSCAPE as a new platform? TOWNSCAPE is about creating visual harmony, tool and design. It's not really practice here, but I can transform jalan tol. Number 2 is, for example, where for Eastern and West Brief Road, a key case study that show how to planning and beautification, how people experience a place. Number 3, why is matter to jalan tol? Because jalan tol has beautiful historical landmark, but lack a concise design. But now it's somewhere for random safe furniture and cool furniture flow. Number 4 is using prototype. We can look at this example for as prototype. But by adapting principle, we can create a Malaysian vision, the land heritage, weather and public need. So closely, light engineering, combination, climate conscious design and heritage inspire us after a powerful way to image jalan tol as 3D accessible and durable urban space. Next slide. So this number 3 is 3 incorporated. 3 incorporated unique. Number 1 is unique relationship between 3 and unique. 3 are not just decorative, they are part of urban design. Unique and 3 should evolve together, maintaining a balance between nature and new environment. Number 2 is traditional vision modern landscape. In the past, landscape with more self-sufficient. In this today, landscape design emphasizes simplicity and function, but should still aim to enhance architecture and identity. What it matters for the jalan tol? Because to improve jalan tol, we should plant 3 link with walkway to reduce heat, as native tree that need less maintenance and integrated cleaning with unique and future for better visibility and performance. For example of the tree design, we get as for shape, sensory appear, framing impact, and sunny for physical tree design. Change of level. Importance of ground level design. Ground level shows how people move and feel in a space. Level can enhance its identity, identify and visual flow of any area. And how to level and use TOWNSCAPE change in level in elevation. Number 1 is add visual begin. Number 2, cut movement and make space be more defined and memorable. For example, the soft bank as in 1951, filter, dressing slope, contrasting requirement, maintaining a CP design. Design it or apply this jalan tol gentle level change to guide flow from masjid Jamek to Land Rover. Design tip: good level design should us plan, structure and material to soft transition. Focus on comfort and visual clarity, not just decoration. The psychology for understand check of level and landscape design. People and citizens connect high with importance of status. High area feel powerful, wide long area feel more intimate and vulnerable. Visual impact of level. Slow and unrelated energy, with monotony and hard to define public space. Think of it like visual storytelling to illusion. Numerical visual effect of level change. Visual impact of illusion, meeting from community and detailing vector. Changing your engine LEDs, design level. Landscape. Number one is look as a design opportunity, slowing connection by often until you can see and see as good. For example, stable Cullen as geometric clarity and uniform clarity, energy and connection. And example number two, the more that organic and proof will include surface and selection magnetic. So, closing line in short, by combination to full 3 plus min placement will smart elevation change, we can bring Jakarta into a more workable, sharing and emotional independent urban corridor. Thank you.
My name is FARZANA binti HAMIDAN. So I am going to present about the last thing about this book. So first of all, my chapter is here and there. So which is about, there is 12 elements that I am going to talk about. So I am just going to summarize all of it. So first we have inside, extends out. Second we have functional space. Third we have external and internal. Fourth we have space and continuity. Fourth we have public and private. And five we have space and infinity. Six we have captured space, and the seventh one we have projection. So I will just summarize. If you are confused, these things usually we have seen in our own eyes if we go to cities or some place like, which is very common, like the first one that I have talked about the mosque and something that's near a very people that have many people around it. And then we have functional space, which can emphasizing the event. And then we have external and internal, which is very often large and expensive. And usually it is for casual and social active people are expected to be there. And then you have space and continuity. So this one is actually kind of important because if we have seen a place where people and vehicles that can use there, so that is what we call space and continuity. So this is one very important because the quality of light and materials denies the concept of outside and inside. But this shape actually shows how it can give a continuity. And then we have public and private. So people know about it, which is public is usually active, while private usually are quieter. And then we have space and infinity, like a place where give us comfort when we walk. And then there is some barrier on top of us, which gives us sudden shape. And then we have captured space, which is about vertical poles and horizontal building slightly. And then we have projection, which is about a space that is provokes polarization. So next slide. Okay, and then we have reflection, and we have immediacy, and we have loops. And also the last one we have water. So deflections is about the place where we have one point view, focal view. So this one is usually we see at kaki. So for example, a place is Jalan Ta and Jalan Dayu.
experiencing by seeing, feeling, and interacting with the environments as it is right now. So immediacy, by contrast, values organic in integration. Where building space and this work together as one emotional and sensory experience. For example, you cannot observe the place or the street, but we live in it. And then we have unfiltered and unstaged urban life, which is experiencing people weaving through the narrow passage, and then juxtaposition of old and new, which is the contrast in areas that just color, hidden the visual interest, which create the immediacy. And then we have domes, which is like the Taran Merdeka, that have a very lively colonial affected and affected by modern skyline. And then we have water, for example, usually see as emotional and special anchor. So it is a relationship between coastal towns and the sea, emphasizes the significance of the visual and sensory connection. So, and then the power of direct connection. So land and water creates a powerful sense of immediacy. So we have the feelings of closeness, and engagement with the environment. And then the last one, we have psychological access, which is as important as physical access. Like the sea is not physically reachable, but is psychological nearness. Then the last one, this is the conclusion of this book, so I'll just summarize it. So the central message of TOWNSCAPE is that the environment is not very functional, but this is an art form meant to be emotionally and experientially engaging. The author emphasizes that areas can be transformed through a deeper understanding of how people relate to space. So that is all from us. So thank you for watching.